So you know what? Don't touch people's stuff. I don't care who you are, or what you think, or whatever. You want to be justified? I see you touching someone else's stuff. I'm gonna probably have to touch you. Mm-hmm. You know why? Mm-hmm. That's someone's time. That's someone's labor, dude. And you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna break it because I don't like somebody else. You know what? Someone spent a lot of time making the money and sacrificing things to have stuff. I have stuff. You touch my stuff, I'm definitely gonna be touching you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to make...
That sounds terrible now that I said it out loud. I'm gonna punch you. Probably.
That kind of touching, yes.
Yeah.
The type with the closed fist.
Yeah.
So here's
Vandals are usually pretty feminine. Backhand will probably suffice.
From Olympic City and the home of Pikes Peak, this is the Automotive ADHD Show with Matt West.
And here we are, rocking it on the Automotive ADHD Show. Matt West here, hanging out with you, talking cars, and we have a loaded show today. Teslas are being burned to the ground, and this time, not by themselves. And in a shocking move, I am actually going to come out in support of the Tesla owners. I know, it's amazing. So, also, a toll road scam is sweeping the nation, and it's called Easy Pass. We're going to talk about that and more with my guest. Joining me across the board right now, Jim Miller, just a guy. Jim, welcome back to Automotive ADHD.
I am always warmly welcome when I come back here.
And you see, we didn't run your intro there yet, but I promise you your intro is in the works. Now, Jim, people may be familiar that you are running for City Council, District 5. They may have also seen that my show endorsed you as the candidate for District 5 as well. Real quick, have you had any time to actually do any work on cars? Any at all?
Very little, actually. I got to move a few tire things around. I got to put a tire balancing machine in the way, and I got to break out the 03 Tacoma.
Okay, there you go.
So I did get that out, and I started cleaning it out, but then I ran out of time again and had to leave, so.
Did you ever find that W-Trans shifter I gave you?
I did not.
You lost the shifter.
No, I know it's in a box. We campaigning and trying to do regular work and everything is quite arduous. Mm-hmm. And whoever called it fundraising was a pretty hilarious, jerky type of person, because it's not fun doing any fundraising. It's arduous raising, or dreadful raising, I think is the better way to put it. That stuff is miserable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're going to get into a little bit of some details. I'm going to have Jim on for the whole show, by the way. You may recall that we've been having him on for one segment each time here. We're going to have him on a special feature for the entire show, and we're not going to talk all about politics. Jim is just going to co-host the show with me. Like I said, we got a few fun topics that we are going to that we're going to get to here as well, and we're going to get Jim's take on a few of these too. So this is going to be
nice.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. Of course, you can catch this show on video on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, Facebook, and more. And a shout out to James Fiddler, who is running the board. He is fiddling the video switcher, if such a thing can happen.
Also known as rice cakes.
There we go. We're not going to explain that one on the air. So,
nope.
And it's not often I always have a producer, so I'm very excited to have someone pushing the buttons. So, Jim, real quick, I got a topic here.
All right.
Are you familiar with Mr. Beast?
I think so. He's kind of the goofy, weird dude with the contesty stuff or something, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of nerdy.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah, apparently,
kind of dweeby nerdy.
Apparently, is he the biggest YouTuber in the world right now? I don't know if he's the biggest.
I don't know. I'm one
of the biggest.
I'm an adult, and he seems kind of dweeby and weird.
Well,
in my perspective,
I got this from Hat Tip Jalopnik, by the way, Colin Woodward, who posed this question that I'm going to steal from him. So Mr. Beast, he's doing these competitions, and how this relates to cars, we'll talk about that. But he has these competitions where people can win something like an airplane or, something like that. So do
they get the hangar and all the rental and the fuel for the airplane and the licensing and the ability to fly it, or they just get an airplane?
Good question. I don't know. It would probably be pretty rude if you just gave them.
Here's an airplane. You can't use it and have no place to park it. Enjoy.
Yeah. But he's got a couple of videos that all have a similar theme that he says he's going to do. One of which is you get a plane for free if you can live in the plane for 100 days. And then there's another one where a cop and a criminal can each get $500,000 if they stay in jail for 100 days. Here's one. If a fat person loses 100 pounds while living in a gym, you get the idea. These are all like this. So the question is, what if you had to do it with a car? What car would you want to live in for 100 days? This is an important question. This is what the people want to know from a council candidate.
Depending on, they're like, they really want the important issues and what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Screw my private property rights and right to repair.
Yeah. But remember,
what would you live in for 100 days if it was a vehicle?
Yeah, but you get to keep it at the end of the 100 days.
What are the rules? Just if I pick it, then I get to keep it? Those are the rules? Because easiest is obviously going to be some kind of RV.
I was going to say
an RV or a box van or something along those natures, or a big U-Haul. Those will be easy to live in, or a big, just anything of that nature is going to have plenty of room and stuff, and that'll be the easiest. But if you're doing it to get something of prestige, you're going to get something you're super cramped in. You're going to need a lot of Gatorade bottles.
Yeah.
And baby wipes.
Quite a few. So here's the thing. You could go either way. I would say there's no rules. But the thing is, you get to keep the car at the end of it. And do you really want to keep some panel van, for example? Do you really want to keep that at the end of it?
Are you a painter? Maybe you're a plumber.
Maybe you are.
It might be beneficial for you.
Maybe you are.
You're making career choices here going, no, what? I'm not working for nobody doing plumbing or painting anymore.
Maybe you're...
I'm going to do custodial work for myself from now on, and that big panel van might have benefited you. It sounded like you were being a little discriminatory.
Maybe that, or maybe producer James is hoping that we don't call him out for driving a white candy van, which he does.
Good. Looks weird.
But here's the thing. Okay, so back to the question. The idea is you get to keep it. So, here's the thing. You have to weigh the balance here of it's something you want to keep versus something that's going to be comfortable for 100 days.
Do I have to stay inside the cab of it to live in it for 100 days? Or is it just I can't touch the ground for 100 days? You get where I'm going with this?
No, you have to be inside of it. You have to be in. You can't just be on a camper on the roof, for example, or like a overlanding tent on the roof.
Okay, I was just checking, because if so, I'd be like, well, just get some nice 4-door, mega cab truck that you want for something nice, because that would be plenty of room. Plus, you could sit in the bed of it going through the window in a camper shell.
Yeah.
So that might be a good cheat.
Now, that's out of the window. You got to be in the cab, in the interior of the car.
And it's kind of if it's just something, I don't know, man. This just seems kind of arduous as a whole. You kind of got me on a stumper here right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to be definitive on winning, I would probably pick a Toyota Hiace, the big 6-door one, the truck.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I would go. I'd find one of those from Japan and get the 6-door. So it's 3-row doors, big 4-wheel drive. It's basically a cab over with a truck bed. You can get one of those. They're pretty neat. They're pretty slow, but they're kind of an overlandy vehicle. But there's a lot of room in that cab with the 3 doors. The 6 doors. It's got a lot of room in it. So I think I could do fine with that, and it's something I would want and keep. So if it was choice and one in the wind, and something a little bit unique, it'd be that or a Toyota Mega Cruiser. So one of those two would be my choice.
How did I know it was going to be a Toyota?
Well,
I wonder.
Because I wonder. Like, what would you do for a Klondike bar? It's what would you do for a Toyota, Jim? I was like, Japanese tetanus, here I come.
I was probably going to pick a Toyota as well. My pick was actually going to be kind of boring. I was going to either say something between just any classic Land Rover, or not Land Rover, the good Toyota stuff, not the Land Rover. But I was going to say a Land Cruiser.
There you go. I'm just staring at you in disgust.
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
you were already doing that. No, it's worse. Sorry, Land Cruiser is what I would say, or. Hear me out.
Like an FJ40 Land Cruiser or like an FJ80? I
would say like an 80 series. 80 series
okay,
Land
FJ80s are cool. Still straight
I would
axles.
say somewhere around
they got 3 rows of seats. You can fold everything up and down. You could live in it pretty comfortably.
Yeah, you could live in it comfortably. It would be fun. The price on them is through the moon now.
I know. I wish I didn't get rid of any of mine.
Yeah, because I couldn't justify buying one for the capability that it has now compared to a modern vehicle, a newer Toyota. It's not worth that price tag to me.
Yeah.
But I would still want it. So that's where you have that criteria of, can you actually live in it? Like, you wouldn't want to live in a Mazda Miata for 100 days because you probably you probably wouldn't survive, or at least you'd be like a foot shorter probably by the end of it.
Compressing your spine.
You would be a little bit shorter at the end of it. I would say either that or one of those schwanky, fancy JDM fire trucks. Toyota made them. A couple of brands made them.
A lot of those are high aces too.
Yeah, they're based on that platform. But
we kind of had the same idea to a point.
To a point.
Just the packaging.
So, what would you do that? Let me know. Facebook.com/automotive-ADHD. You can comment on the YouTube and Facebook version of this as well. We're going to be back after the break. We're talking Tesla and how, I know. Can you imagine that? No one's coming back after I say that. But hey, stay right here on Automotive ADHD. We'll be back in just a minute.
Some call him the Toyota God. Others say he ran for mayor.
Introduce you to the candidates running for mayor. So today it's Jim Miller.
One of your priorities that you've laid out is fixing the roads in Colorado Springs.
Jim Miller.
Mr. Miller, you also have 30 seconds.
That was Jim Miller, just a guy.
All we know is he's just a guy with more cars than friends. Jim Miller is on Automotive ADHD.
Yes, he is. Jim Miller, just a guy. And he's now going to make me make a new intro for him because he's also running for city council, which you should have told me that before I made that intro.
Well, it just kind of happened, if you do recall correctly. You were there.
I was there. It was sort of a, hey, you should do that. Yeah, you're right. I should do that. And then you've really gotten into it. I mean, really, really gone deep with especially the campaign and talking to people, knocking doors. I mean, really, really incredible stuff.
Kicking doors in on businesses, kissing hands, shaking babies.
Yeah, some of that. You're right.
No.
Yeah, no.
No.
But yeah, Jim, so I know people are probably, getting a little tired of hearing about politics everywhere they go. But
I'm tired of hearing about politics myself.
Well, I was just say you. I mean, especially, you're living it every single day right now.
I'm one of the few people that hates politicians and politics. I despise it at this point.
Yeah, and what I want to touch on here and why this is important, why we've been highlighting this on the show is, with car guys, right? I mean, we always complain about how many issues there are being a car guy, dealing with the city, dealing with regulations, dealing with emissions. On every level of politics, we have, something
grievances.
Something that is affecting our ability
registrations, license plates, driver's licenses, insurances, all these extra rules and crap. And you can't do this. Why are you working on your car at your place? Because it's my car and my place. It's my private property rights. Leave me alone.
Right. And so, on every level, the reason this is important, right? The reason this is significant is because on every level, it matters to be, as a car guy, at least to defend yourself when people are coming up with legislation that really inhibits you doing the things that you love, the expression of free will that you have to enjoy, these things that we love and the things that cost us money and all of that.
Enjoying the work away from work and the stress away from stress that we decided to do.
The pursuit of happiness, as it is called.
Used to be called that.
But having said that, on the local level, we have things on the national level. We have stuff like emissions. We got the EPA. Yeah. We got all of this breathing down our neck. But on the local level, it's important to understand that, for example, city council makes a lot of those ordinances, those rules, those things that just grind our gears, for lack of a better phrase, when it comes to automotive stuff. And Jim, really, I mean, obviously you're running on more than just being a car guy. We're a car focused show. We are. But I mean, you have so many different.
Of all the things I am advocate for, private property rights and vehicle repair and rights of repair and being able to do what you want to do with your property. Yeah, 100%. There's many things that I'm an advocate for, but they're all very freedom based.
Right.
So if you wanted to just sum it up, be like, do you like freedom? Do you like to make your own decisions? And it's like, oh, there's your platform. Bam, that's me.
Yep. And that's something I think car enthusiasts, we like to have a little bit of freedom. That's like one of the fun things about getting in a car, driving down the road, going for a cruise, going for a drive. It's that freedom to go where you want and do what you want and drive what you want. There's a lot of that. Now, from the perspective of city council, and I asked you this yesterday. We did a video on social media, but I asked you this yesterday, but as a car guy coming into city council, like what are some of the big focuses you have as it relates to cars?
Well, it obviously the right to fix and work on your stuff at your own place. My gosh, all these codes, nonsensical codes. What are you doing with your property on your property? Fixing it. I'm building it. Who cares? I got 3 months to wait for parts. Who cares? It's on Jack State. It's on my property. Leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need to pay for a registration on it. It's not built, done, or ready to go. It's a track car. It's an off-road vehicle. It's a custom build. It's going to be a show car. Whatever it is, there's lots of reasons not to register and plate a vehicle, for crying out loud. And if this is what they're chasing, they're obviously not focusing on real problems or real crimes. They're just finding excuses and people to blame that are easy to blame, because as car people, we stand out.
Mm-hmm.
We do. We stand out in society. I mean, I'd be a big advocate against all these excessive registration charges too. My gosh.
If I can tee off on that a little bit, I've got a few cars, and sometimes when I'm working on a car like my S2000, it really hasn't seen the road in a while. It's been more than a year, and it always bugs me. Now, granted, going on city council, this is more of a state thing, so like you build up from each of them, right? You can
still advocate from the kitchen tabletop to the state stuff.
Well, because these, as they say, kitchen table discussions too. I mean, these are the things people are actually talking about.
Stuff we actually deal with.
Yeah. But, having said that, that's one of those great examples that if you have a car that you're not driving for a while, you're working on it as a project car, but you still have to keep it registered. Or they say, there's a non-road registration. If you pay this other fee, you can register it to just sit there. And I go, what? Why?
It's just nickel and diming us to death. It's another way to keep you in check and keep you wasting money, and which means wasting your time on something instead of just. I don't even like the late fees, to be honest with you. I think it's just another excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Look, and if they were going to do a late fee, like, be realistic, be like a $10 or $20 late fee. Hey, man, you forgot. Be like, yeah, you got me so busy working, paying for a bunch of conveniences that I don't have time to use with some other fee or tax or some other nonsensical thing that just doesn't stop, that it keeps you extra busy. You forget some of this stuff. You just do.
Yeah.
You get a registration thing in the mail and you're like, okay, cool. It goes in a stack of mail and you get like once a month to go through it half the time, like all of it go through it.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, well, I better send the regular bills out.
Yeah.
It gets pretty busy nowadays. We're all busy, super busy. Oh, you have a late fee. Look, man, I had surgeries and stuff and getting patched up from car accidents. That was miserable. Oh, you have to do this, but if you want the thing back in another form, you got to get a doctor's note and a thing freaking notarized and blah. And then I still have a stack like this of paperwork to get like, I don't know, it was like $500 or $600 in late fees back.
Yeah.
I was laid up from surgery. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I think they push the limits too far. They definitely overreach on what's supposed to be our personal rights. I mean, government's supposed to be there for infrastructure, security, and enforcing your liberties.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting way to put it there.
They are supposed to be enforcing them. They're supposed to be, honestly, your representatives, your advocates for going, hey, yeah, you don't like that he has a car part, but it is their right to have a car part. They're not doing a crime. They're not criminals. They're just working on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's making something for the track. It looks like it's a family endeavor over here with these people.
Yeah. Well, a good example of that, too, is involving automotive events and things. This is something that I think should get a little more support from city council. We get a lot of car shows. You've got cars and coffee events, some of the bigger ones up in Denver, for example.
We never see them at the hill climb, do we?
No, I haven't seen a council member at the hill climb.
I haven't seen a local politician at a hill climb.
If they're there, I haven't seen them, but I have a feeling they're not there. But involving that presence, too, of like, hey, this is a car event. This is an officially sanctioned thing. This isn't some random street takeover where you're doing donuts in the middle of an intersection at 3 a.m.
It's not a bunch of dingies. It's a bunch of hobbyists. It's a bunch of people with passion.
And that's like when we're out at the hill climb, at the Fan Fest. And it's my goal to be out there again this year,
We will be out there this year.
It's going to be really good.
Yes, we will.
But one of the things that's so cool to me is seeing all of the families get involved out there, because it's not just like a dude who likes cars. No, it's dad, mom, it's a couple of the kids. The kids want to go sit in the race car, and it really creates this culture of this being a family type of event.
Yeah.
And that's how, by the way, that's how other people, that's how kids get into cars in the first place.
I'm old. Some of the old car meets used to be like a barbecue thing and a deal, and some of the kids and family members would be there barbecuing and stuff, and then it'd be like a cruise drive from a destination to be in. Do you know what I mean? And we'd just be like, oh, what are you doing? It's a nice cruise. Everybody's just getting together, taking pictures, swapping parts, seeing repairs, where they done, mods, yada, yada. Little barbecue, little food start, and then another snack thing at the end somewhere else, wherever you went.
Yeah. And think of this too. People talk about, well, city council needs to focus on bringing business into the community and developing this and that. Well, yeah, you can do that. And by the way, with bringing a sense of just friendliness in for automotive events, family-friendly automotive events, right? Bringing in this culture that, hey, it's okay, you can bring these events in.
A sense of community. For such an era that screams of diversity all the time, they sure get grumpy when you're not doing exactly the same thing as they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they scream diversity, but if you're not into what they're into, they think there's something wrong with you. Seems kind of hypocritical to me.
That, and when you bring in business, when you bring in events.
How much tax money and just parts and stuff do we bring in?
Oh, man.
Registrations and all this stuff, we pay for a lot of road stuff. And then parts alone, it's like, what did you do? You're like, man, we go through tires, we go through wheels, we go through axles, we go through transmissions, we go through bottom ends, top ends, everything, body pan, interiors. We generate a lot of tax revenue as just car hobbyists alone.
Well, it's one of the more expensive hobbies you can have, by the way.
It is not cheap, no.
It's not like we're making baskets or something or knitting, right? I'm sure, if that's your hobby,
it's not
fine.
Underwater basket weaving, you know?
Yeah. I'm sure if that's your hobby, whatever, but it probably isn't costing you as much as car stuff is. But likewise, with car stuff costing as much as it is, like you said, taxes. We're paying a big burden of taxes on those things. Registration's a great example of that too, because you as a car guy might have a daily driver, but maybe you got a fun project car. Maybe you got another winter car. A lot of us car guys have 2, 3, 4 cars.
Could you imagine from all the roads we paid for, because we have Colorado Springs addresses, that like you went down to a parking meter and you just scanned your ID and it's like your parking's free because you paid for this road. You paid for the parking spot. You paid for the meter to go in, and be like, thank you. There's my return of investment. I didn't get charged in a parking ticket coming down here to go to whatever I had to go to downtown. That's my number one reason I don't go downtown. That's my number 2 reason I don't like dealing with the meth heads and the addicts and the vagrants either. That's annoying.
There are some of those downtown.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, cool. Now someone just threw something in my car for no reason why I parked here, why they're all methed out, but I'm the problem.
Apparently we're all the problem. But I think, taking this, looking at this in a really positive and upbeat sort of sense too. Yeah, we like to gripe about the things that we want to fix too.
Right, yeah.
But we also, like I was saying, with bringing in more events, we should have some positive stuff. We should have some community engagement that also helps people out with this notion that, oh, car guys, they're just loud and they're doing donuts in intersections. Because we have to actively combat in my opinion, as enthusiasts, we have to combat the street takeover culture, because the street takeover culture is the whole reason people then go to their city council member and say, gosh, these car guys are such a pain. They're doing donuts in front of my house. And
oh, their registration's expired. That's why the road's not fixed. You're like, I don't think my registration really caused a problem. I just forgot I was busy working. It's not a big deal. I'll go to DMV, man. Relax. Next paycheck, I'm there.
Right.
But they blame us for everything. No, I got the kids in the cars. Keeps idle hands busy.
Yes.
Which means less trouble and a lot of lessons on working and building and making things and how to yell at engineers.
Yes. Yeah, that's the best part. If you're an engineer.
Why did you put the drain plug there? Why am I taking 20 things off to do one thing? The starter shouldn't be there. Talking to you, Toyota.
Oh, yeah.
1UZs.
Oh, man. Hey, you're listening to the Automotive ADHD Show. My guest, Jim Miller, is joining me. We're going to talk about Tesla and how, the Teslas aren't setting themselves on fire anymore.
That's new.
We're going to get to that right after the break here on Automotive ADHD.
He's the nut behind the wheel and behind the mic. This is Automotive ADHD with Matt West.
I have mixed feelings about a lot of these vandalisms that we have been seeing throughout the country and in our state. Some even taking extra precautions to make sure their car stays safe.
Always concerned about where I park, make sure it's covered, make sure it's secure. Even at home, we won't even park on the street.
Brian Baudois has owned his Tesla for nearly 3 years now. He says he wants a new car but can't get one right now, so he's doing what he can to protect his car.
Just have a sticker ordered that says that this Tesla is against what Elon's doing. So hopefully we can put that on the vehicle and people not vandalize it.
Recent vandalism in Loveland at a Tesla dealership and at homes here in Colorado Springs has Baudois and other Tesla owners I spoke with on edge. Despite this, Ben Peace, who's had his Tesla for a little under a year, tells me he's had no issues since he got his car.
No one threatened me for anything or said, why are you doing this? I think this is an American car, and we should proud to use it.
Luke Lyons tells me he's had his Tesla for about a year and says he thinks the vandalism is pointless and he'll be keeping his Tesla.
I think it's a waste of time. I don't understand why people are targeting us. I think they kind of have to realize not everybody has the same opinion.
So, you may be familiar with some of the things going on with Teslas around the country, but particularly here in Colorado, because the situations here have made some national headlines. And I guess what they're saying is hide your kids, hide your wife, and apparently hide your electric golf cart thing.
Hide your Tesla?
Tesla, yeah. And by the way, if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Automotive ADHD show. The guy sitting across the board from me is just a guy, Jim Miller. And we are...
I'm not just prison pretty. I have a personality.
There you go.
My eyes are up here.
Yeah. Well, see, it's radio, though, so yeah. Well, yeah. So no one really believes you.
If you watch the streaming Freeman, you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know why I'm saying my eyes are up here.
Yeah, there we go. The people are going to like, what is he talking about? Anyway, so Tesla, you've probably been familiar with some of the political things going on around Tesla. And hearing that clip is interesting because you're hearing firsthand some of the takes of Tesla owners. And by the way, that clip was from KKTV. They did a whole report on this, and hat tip to KKTV for that. And
I don't mind them.
And by the way, we're sitting here at the studios, AM 1460, The Answer, here off of Woodman and 25. KKTV, they're like a stone's throw away. They're right out that window.
Next door, yeah.
Yeah, they're our neighbors. So, but having said that, look, you've got issues here where people don't agree politically with Elon Musk. Okay. And so people are going out and vandalizing Teslas, again, across the country. They're setting Teslas on fire even. And then here at the Colorado Springs Tesla dealership, there was some vandalism that occurred, spray painting X's across there, rude symbols, all of this stuff. And this is going to come as a shock to anyone who listens to my show often, which is I'm going to support the Tesla people in this case.
I agree. I concur. You're touching other people's private property. You're the problem, not what somebody bought. If you're mad at Elon, you know what? Why don't you grab your gusto and do the old thing like challenge him to a UFC match? Wasn't he going to fight Bezos like 2 or 3 years ago? Wasn't that a whole thing?
I don't know, but that would be amazing.
Or the lizard man from the face page.
Oh, yeah.
That's who he was going to fight. Lizard man from face page. Whatever.
The Zuckerberg.
Sucky Burger or whatever the heck his name is.
Yeah,
the weird lizard dude. Yep. Anyways, there was going to be a thing on that. So you know what? Don't touch people's stuff. I don't care who you are or what you think or whatever. You want to be justified? I see you touching someone else's stuff. I'm gonna probably have to touch you.
Mm-hmm.
You know why?
Mm-hmm.
That's someone's time. That's someone's labor, dude. And you're just like, oh, I'm just going to break it because I don't like somebody else. You know what? Someone spent a lot of time making the money and sacrificing things to have stuff. I have stuff. You touch my stuff, I'm definitely going to be touching you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to make...
That sounds terrible now that I said it out loud. I'm going to punch you. Probably.
that kind of touching, yes.
Yeah.
The type with the closed fist. So here's
vandals are usually pretty feminine. A backhand will probably suffice.
Well, these ones apparently are, by the way. But here's the thing I think that is fascinating with this, and I'll echo your point there, which is I will say that the Tesla owners, regardless of what car you have, it doesn't matter what car you have.
What are you going to do, start vandalizing Volkswagens because Hitler started them? Huh? You got real gusto? Start reading some history, you weirdos.
That's a great point. That's a great point right there.
Hitler started Volkswagen, so now I'm going to go vandalize a bunch of Volkswagens because of the Holocaust. I don't see any of that happening. I just see excuses for being what's a radio nice way of saying it? For being a weak, soft, limp-wristed, knee-bendy vandal. How about that?
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. If you're a vandal, also think of this, too. And you're like, I hate Elon Musk so much because politics, XYZ, he said this, he did that, whatever, right? So by vandalizing the Teslas, you're actually helping Elon because now the because the owners have to now file an insurance claim, and they might need a new windshield, they might need a new door. Say if the Tesla caught fire, right? Yeah. See if the Tesla caught fire, you set it on fire, you totaled the Tesla. Think of this. Now the insurance company pays out. That person goes and buys, guess what? Another Tesla.
They got it for a reason.
So Tesla's making profit either way.
The only part that bugs me is people are like, well, I got to put a sticker on here to say something. Man, I don't know why that bugged me, but I'm like, don't censor yourself. You made your purchase. You got your own private property. You tell everybody to stay away from your stuff. You don't need to be adjusting to be convenienced for a bunch of weak, limp-wristed vandals.
I was gonna mention that too. You beat me to it. Yeah. But the notion of, oh, please, I'm going to put a sticker on. Don't vandalize me, please. Oh.
I'm a victim already. What is that?
Come on.
My God. Stop skipping leg day. Freaking knee bender. What is that?
Oh, man. So, the thing is with this, again, I mean, anytime that, you're going out there, you're vandalizing someone else's private property to make a political statement, I can't get behind that. I mean, I place these people like between catalytic converter thieves and these people that are vandalizing this, I'm struggling on where to put them.
I put them somewhere between the dump and the dumpster. That's kind of where I put them, vandals. I just put them there.
And even if you think that the Cybertruck is a dumpster.
Oh, it is a dumpster.
It's not your dumpster to vandalize.
There is a whole write-up about raccoons breaking into them because it looks like a dumpster so much. But that's somebody's choice in their thing. And I don't like them. I don't want to buy a Tesla. I don't know. I might now if the prices are going down, but.
Well, and by the way, so last week on the show, I discussed how Tesla is for example, the Model 3 and the Model Y.
But those are American-made cars, too.
Those are actually some of the most American cars made in America right now.
Nice.
And that goes back to, look at it this way. So, and if you want to hear my discussion on this, tune into last week's show on the podcast, because I went in depth ranking cars from most American to least American. And we're not just talking where they're made. We're talking about the parts, the supply chain,
the pieces, who's putting it together. Yeah, assembly lines, everything.
Right. And Tesla is number one in so many categories right there. That interview you heard there, one of the guys in that interview, he said, it's an American car. We should be proud to drive it as Americans. Yeah. And you know what's interesting? He sounded like he came from another country.
He sounded like some of my relatives, because my family looks like a bag of Skittles, had sex with a bag of M&Ms. We have everybody. He sounded like he might have been related to me, honestly.
Well, and by the way, people who came and became citizens here,
they're more proud to be American than most quote-unquote Americans are nowadays, which is really sad and disheartening, in my opinion.
That's what I'm getting at.
You can despise the political setup, because we've been conditioned not to discuss politics, not to discuss religion. Oh, we got to fight about it. It's like, that's ridiculous. It should be easier to talk about that than sexual orientations, I think, in the modern era. And then you want to get mad at somebody because of what vehicle they purchased, and then you want to vandalize their stuff. There's something wrong with them. And you know what? If the community's going to come and take a stance, they need to take a stance against the vandals, because it doesn't matter what it is, but it's your private property you purchased. Nobody should touch your stuff. And you know what? Kudos to that man who said we should be proud of it. We should as Americans, because that's the part that's missing. We should as Americans stand together. And we just, I don't know what happened. We just don't. But
well, and I think too that we should also, just a side note there, we'll get onto this more actually as we get into the next segment. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to discuss tolls and toll scams. I don't know if you've seen the latest toll scam.
I have not.
Ooh, I'll show it to you. We're going to get to all of that and some of your car sounds right here on Automotive ADHD. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
At last, the legend goes turbo. Because you never know when you'll need Land Cruiser Turbo Power. Direct injection makes it the most powerful vehicle in its class. The power, the performance, and the handling that puts you in control.
Direct injection turbo? What a charge!
Oh, what a feeling! Turbo Power.
This is Automotive ADHD. with Matt West.
You can send your car sounds into my show, facebook.com/automotive ADHD for a chance to be featured on the show. Jim, you know what that wasn't?
That was not an EV, that's for sure. That was not one of those electric Charger Challenger noise things going on.
No, it wasn't. Jason Cyrus right there sent that in. I've played that car sound like 5 times because I like it. I really like it. It's very good. You should send me more car sounds.
I think it's your ringtone now, isn't it?
Yeah. Go ahead. Give me a call. It's definitely that. So anyway, send your car sounds into my show, facebook.com/automotive ADHD for a chance to win some free stuff. And I think we settled on it. I don't know if we actually settled on it. I've settled on it. I think the 24 karat gold ratchet should be the giveaway prize.
That's so pretentious.
That's what I think. Yeah. Icon, gold ratchet, because it's better than Snap-on.
Yes,
so
it
fight
is
me.
better.
Fight me, and it's gold, because, why not? So
gold is good.
Now, in the last segment, we were talking about Teslas a little bit. We were ramming on some of the vandalism that's happening to those and all of that. But I want to talk a little bit about a scam. And Jim, I showed you this earlier, but this is a toll scam that's going all across Colorado right now. And it may even...
Oh, yeah, the text message one where if you don't pay by March 23rd, something, they're going to have legal action. Pay now. Click this link, yada, yada. Yeah, do not click the link.
No, don't click the link.
Don't touch that link.
So the thing is, if you've gotten these, almost everyone I know has ran into one of these. So this is from allegedly EasyPass. It's not really from EasyPass because they will, EasyPass won't send you a text.
They send you letters.
Yeah,
if you've ever had to use it or for tolls or have toll accounts, they have paper letters that come to you.
Right. And this one says, EasyPass final notice. You have an unpaid toll. Failure to remit payment by March 23rd, 2025 will result in penalty or legal proceedings. Pay now. And it has a link that sort of looks legit, but it's really not, especially when you see that it's .com.xin.
Yeah.
Right.
That's super professional.
Yeah.
I use .xin for all my email purposes.
Exactly.
What?
Also, you will notice, and this is one that I got personally, and I just chuckled when I saw it. It came in as a text, but from an email address, which if you didn't know,
that's not scammy.
You can do that, though. There are ways to do that. And the email address it came for is Marissa, MARESSA 34966 at iCloud.com.
iCloud.com.
Yeah, this is very much easy to,
not just scammy, kind of scummy, too.
Yeah, and by the way, again, I'm going to say the email address again, MARESSA 349966 at iCloud.com, because you should email that email address with whatever you want. Spam it. Don't actually click on any links from that address, but go spam it. Please do.
Go fish them this time.
Send them horrible things.
Yes.
Use your imagination. So anyway.
What a scam.
Look, and this I think could also be a little bit of a PSA for some of the older folks who are listening. A lot of times these things are going to come in. They're going to look legit. They're going to want to get information, money out of you. Just don't click on any links in there.
Never click a link. And if you don't get paper with it, then don't. No.
Yep.
Not even. And be cautious of paper, too.
Yeah.
Always double verify, triple verify. The rule of threes apply with every scam type thing. You triple verify everything.
Absolutely. And again, this is going across Colorado right now. People are noticing this. But if you're listening on the podcast, maybe in another state, wherever, people listen all around the country, you might find the same thing happening to you as well.
This is our public service announcement.
Yes, the public service announcement. But Jim, I would argue that the real scam is not this thing pretending to be Easy Toll. I think it's Easy Toll itself.
Oh, the fun-filled people that conned us on the whole thing with the widen like the I-25 up here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's widen I-25. Oh, by the way, here's the lane. Now you got to pay for the extra lane that you already paid for. Then you get to pay for it again, and then you have to get a pass to even use the extra lane. And if you don't, then you're going to get a freaking fine and a ticket in the mail.
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous.
It's a bait and switch. It's hey, taxpayers, pay for this section of road so we can widen it.
Yeah.
And then, we're going to turn it into a toll road now. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
You ever driven on 25 between the Springs and Denver? Virtually no one is using that toll road.
We already paid for the road, and we want us to pay for it again?
Yep. So, and this also has fines now. And this is staggering. This really is staggering, which is the fines for weaving into that toll lane. And this isn't just, okay, you cut in and then you drove in it. No, this is if your wheel touched the the marker if you bumped into it briefly, or there's some debate about some not very clearly marked exit areas for it as well that people have been crossing into. So, James...
Sounds like excuses.
James Fiddler doing a great job producing the show. Roll that clip for me, please.
This new fine is generating money. Between October, when the state started issuing fines, and this month, Steve on your side found Colorado wrote tickets for more than $40 million in fines. More than $40 million in fines assessed in 9 months.
If you run with a $40 million figure out there, I think it would be highly misleading.
Though Tim Hoover with the Colorado Transportation Investment Office doesn't want you to focus on that $40 million number.
There's going to be tickets that we can't collect. And also remember, it can take a while to even collect stuff that we can collect.
He says the state has only been able to collect about 2/3 of it. And at the end of the day, after paying the company that runs the cameras and other costs, they've only netted a little over $16 million. You might be asking what the state might do with $16 million it didn't have before.
Safety improvements, so you're talking about striping improvements, signage improvements, guardrail.
And he says they'll use it to educate the public so they know how to avoid those fines through things like TV ads.
Sounds like that outreach can be expensive.
It is with what you guys charge.
Oh, snap, crackle, pop. There's some Rice Krispies on that one.
Yep. So, by the way, that was from 9 News in Denver.
Was that Steve Hoover doing a little snap at them about it?
That was. He was snapping at the TV
at first
station.
I was
there.
kind of like, Steve Hoover sucks. That's what I was like really getting the notion of. And then he's like, yeah, for what you charge us.
Ooh, yeah, that's again, hat tip 9 News for that. Great investigative clip, by the way, that they did there. But I do find that funny. And by the way, if you do want some ad time for a little less than 9 News will charge you,
use us.
Yeah, my show. Advertise on my show. Let's get in touch. I won't charge you as much as 9 News.
Definitely
guaranteed.
not. Yeah.
So
you'll get more feedback out of it too, most likely.
Yeah, you will. Now, okay, so the thing I want to highlight there, Jim, is that, okay, so these are fines that they are levying for weaving into the toll lane. $40 million. Since
and then
it went into effect, they said, what did they say? October?
October.
It's not even been a year. $40 million.
But they want more road tax? This is ridiculous. Look, we paid for the road. Do you know what I think? I think if you have a Colorado license plate, you shouldn't be charged for it anyways. Out-of-state license plates.
Boom.
All out-of-state license plates. They got the technology. They charge us for the cameras. We paid for them. We paid for the road. All of us that live here got charged on that. The tourists and the people visiting, charge them. Send them a ticket. $40 million, and they're like, oh, well, we only got 16.2.
Yeah, that's the other part.
We only got 16.2. You know what? I'm kind of getting a sense that all of our, the 7.5 or 8 million people in the state should have all their registrations paid for without anything going on here. This is ridiculous. I like it. Well, we only got $16.2 million. Get out of here.
Then the question is, they go, well, that's because of fees and this. And then there's the bit that goes to the company that runs it.
The company that runs it, is that making jobs here? By the way, or is that some other company with jobs in other states and countries?
Well, and let me remind you that it is also a private company that is profiting off of the citizens here to administer this system, which, by the way, I really don't think should exist in the first place.
I don't see anybody riding in there. They're busy burning Teslas or something, huh? Where's the vandals on that one?
Right?
I don't see a single vandal taking out a red light camera or an Easy Pass camera.
For the record, we're not telling you to do that.
We're not advocating. I'm just pointing out a thing with grievances and how people react that are just unjustly balanced. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Wow. Again, it's just wild to me. Look at it. Again, $40 million. The state keeps 16, which again is a ton. Now, obviously, they're blowing it all on advertising.
I like how condescending it was to educate you. I already know how to drive, man. I already know how to drive. I know the light colors and the paint line colors.
Or perhaps with part of the issue, by the way, if you watch that whole investigative report, really good stuff. Part of the issue was the exits not being marked in as clear of a way. So anyway, hey, we're out of time. Jim, thanks for joining me on the show. Your campaign website, you're running for City Council District 5. Give that website to me.
JimMillerForColorado.com. Get on there. $17.76. Donate. Boom. Help the cause.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to this edition of Automotive ADHD. Remember to subscribe online, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and more. We'll see you next week.